so I know I'll never hear the end of this. But had to do a little impromptu semi tear down. Had to pull the head back off of the engine because yeah. And I know a lot of people are probably going to beat me up in the comments because they absolutely hated the method that I used when I heated the engine in my engine build video. A lot of people, they did not like the idea of the heat gun heating up the engine, even though a lot of prominent engine builders, they do the same exact thing. A lot of top engine builders, they'll use multiple heat guns. It's common for them to heat up the intake runner or put the heat gun in intake runners, let the engine heat up for about an hour, and that's what they use in order to get heat in the engine to do the retorque procedure on the copper head gasket and top fuel hoop setup. So yeah, you can see right here, it was kind of leaking a little bit. Luckily, it wasn't anything like catastrophic. The one thing that I did notice is that the cooling system was pressurizing. I do think it's important to show this stuff though, because a lot of people wouldn't. They just slap it back together and pretend like nothing happened, and you guys would be misled thinking that everything went perfect the first go round. Sometimes that's the case, sometimes it isn't. Luckily, I'm transparent enough. I'll show you guys the mishaps that I run into, and this was just one of the occasions where that happened. Every time I would make a hit, I would basically see like specks of coolant in this area right here. Coincidentally, where my drain tube or my overflow tube is, which is, I think you can see, yeah, you can see it right there. And then it got to the point to where the bike was idling and coolant was actually just coming out of the overflow tube at a constant rate. It wasn't anything crazy, but the cooling system definitely was getting pressurized. That's why I am kind of beating myself up, because I should have put a coolant pressure sensor on this thing. A lot of people, they put them in the radiators, but it can give you an indication that something is going wrong if there's a linear rise in coolant pressure as you get into boost, because 9 times out of 10, that's combustion pressure actually getting into the coolant system. So this time I did something a little bit different. I think this was a better approach to handle it, but I used this extra intercooler tank, or air-to-water intercooler tank, that I had laying around. I almost forgot that I had it. And then I picked up this like $20 120 volt electric burner from Walmart, which gets surprisingly hot. And I also used this water pump that is actually intended for my billet Hemi build. A lot of you guys know about this one. Essentially, I had this pump hooked up to the tank. I used that burner that I just showed you guys, and I heat up the water to operating engine temperature, and I let it circulate through the engine for about, I'd say maybe about an hour. And believe it or not, I did the engine head stud retorque sequence while the engine was still hot, and I got quite a bit of more turn out of the actual fasteners, the head fasteners, which was kind of surprised me a little bit. I do want to say this is my first time actually using copper head gaskets. This one is a little bit special because you can kind of see that coating on there. That's actually like Hylamar already embedded into the gasket. Hopefully this works. I did run the bike even before I had to do the head, the cylinder head retorque or gasket replacement. And I gotta say, this thing on 5 pounds, because I actually just have it set on the wastegate spring right now just for safety. This thing on 5 pounds feels like my last build when it was on like 10 to 12 PSI, which is absolutely crazy. So this will technically be the first ride. I'm gonna take you guys with me. I'm gonna see if I can get into some boost, and then I'm gonna also try a new camera angle too, because I picked up a new GoPro attachment. So let's see what happens. I'm actually getting my new tune loaded in right now, so I'm gonna finish that up, and then I'm gonna start the bike up, and then we're gonna take a little ride. I gotta say too, this Nano Pro from Fueltech, because I upgraded to these from the FT Nano, which I used to run on this bike. This thing is a lot more advanced than what I had at first. This actually allows you to set up multiple different gauges. You could put buttons on here. I could start the bike with it. This thing is pretty nice. And then this will be really nice for the videos too, because you can see I got my It's not showing right now, but this is actually my wideband reading at the top, and then I got boost at the bottom. So those are two things you want to pay attention to when you're out doing pulls on the street. So the only other thing that I might do probably in the coming week or so is I'll take this radiator off and I'll get a bung welded in there, and I'll put a pressure transducer in there just so I can have the coolant temperature pressure data. So let me get this loaded and then we'll go take a ride. Let's dip. Hopefully you guys can see this boost gauge right here. I tried to put it as like a big boost gauge so you can kind of see it when I get in the boost. I got a couple of different dashes set up. You can see I got air temp right there, manifold pressure, and then I got manifold pressure and O2. Funny part is I actually found a vacuum leak on this bike today. So the AFR is kind of like right where I want it now, because before this it was reading pretty rich, but now it's like reading between anywhere from like 13.0 to 13.5, which is pretty spot on for E85. Oops, spoke too soon. Like I said, right now I got the wastegate set to, it's just making whatever it can make on wastegate spring, which is around 5 to 6 psi, but it feels absolutely nuts. Like, I think that was probably like, I don't even think I went watt on that. So I'm still dialing in the fueling. But man, this wind today is like no joke. Like, crap is like blowing me around. Kind of crazy. I gotta screw this gauge down. Kind of just got it held down with a zip tie right now. two-step would do. Woo! That's not even violent yet. All this stuff is relatively mild. I don't know if people understand that. Like even my last setup, I really wasn't even able to. I really didn't dial it in all the way because from the research that I've done, these bikes kind of like a good amount of timing. I think when I made 105 with it on the dyno on like 16 pounds on my 450 turbo setup, because this is the new 500 setup, but when I made 105 to the tire on 15 pounds, that was really only like, I think like 22 degrees of timing. That's pretty mild for E85. I think I'm gonna do a dual shot, show you guys how much, because I never really paid attention to how much boost is building on the two-step. It's kind of funny too, because earlier today I was actually looking into, like, they have a rolling anti-lag 3-step on the Fueltech software, and I think that'll be super beneficial for this bike, because it's really all throttle when I'm making boost. I don't have any type of launch control set up yet. I mean, other than the two-step, but I haven't launched the bike from a dig. But let me hit that two-step for you. I put it in the wrong gear right there. Let me hit the two-step again. I want to see how much boost it builds. Let me see if you guys can see the camera. You could definitely, I don't know if you guys hear the turbo noises. The blow-off is loud as fuck. Alright, so fill up with some corn. Y'all know the deal. You know we don't run that nasty pump gas. Or that nasty 93. But just want to top off just in case. You never know what kind of shenanigans to get into last minute. I think this might actually be 85% ethanol too, because last time I filled up here was a little bit higher than the other local gas stations, because usually I get like, usually end up with like E78. When I dynoed my bike last time, that's what it was on, E78. But Runs good though. I gotta change that startup screen now. We got 50cc more now. You can see the O2 is heating up. That's what this gauge is right here. Like I was showing you guys earlier. You can set up a whole different combination of gauge clusters and stuff. It's touch screen, obviously. I got a starter button. This is pretty sweet. But yeah, let me get suited and booted and hit the road again. Let's see how good this hot restart is. Actually, you know what? When you guys see that orange, when you see this right here, that is the two-step right there. That's how I'm actually activating it, because I swapped to a WR450 clutch handle, and that has a clutch switch bore in it. So I'm actually using the clutch switch to activate that, and I'll be using the same thing for that for the rolling anti-lag and the three-step. So pretty easy to wire this in. It's just 2 wires, but it works pretty good. It's convenient because I'm just using stuff from the stock bike. Don't have to do anything custom. about to be sweet, and look what happened. I'm about to set some alarms off with this one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo! That was fun. Oh gee, look, I wasn't even recording any of that.